Hi everybody, welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yee, and today I'm going to be taking a look at a pile of wonderfully, absolutely sort of adequate games. These are 5 games that I'm going to be reviewing. Quick fire format, meaning I'm not going to give you a rules explanation of them really. I'm just going to go through them and tell you my thoughts. Maybe you're interested in them, maybe not. I'm going to be going through these in ascending order of box size, which I think actually is my ascending order of interest, coincidentally. So let's kick it off. First off on here is this pack of coaster games. I found this behind one of the shelves when we were moving studios. April of a year ago. I took it home and we've slowly tried playing through some of these things. The form factor of this is that it comes as 6 coasters, and these are little games that you could play maybe if you take it to a restaurant. Maybe they're coasters so that if they get splashed with water, it's not terrible. This one here, Treasure Split, is a Prisoner's Dilemma game. Meh! This one here, The Dark Imp, is there's words and they have there's letters and you're trying to form words and stuff, and there's a certain number of points per letter kind of thing. Bah! This one over here, Alien Farm, super completely uninteresting. There's 4 things in the game, super duper uninteresting. This one here, Ice Cream Truck, is just a gigantic spreadsheet, and it's not terribly hard, but it's convoluted for a coaster game. I'm not going to sit down and play this at a restaurant. Bah. This one, the Free the Frog, I kind of liked it actually. This one was an interesting little 2-player, just kind of a clue game, right? And then you make a noun, and the other player has a few attempts to kind of use clues to try to guess it. It was interesting. Super much already exists and doesn't need to be on a coaster. And then this last one here, you can see that it is just kind of a graph of different different icons and colors and stuff mixed together. It is a direct ripoff of the game Telepathy, and I liked it because it's telepathy. So overall, the coaster card game, the coaster games pack, do you need it? Next up is this game called Templari. Templari is by Michael Schott. This is a re-implementation of a previous game of his called Serengeti, an interesting bidding game. All that's in here is a deck of cards and some coins. And you know what? I like this one pretty much more than every other person that I've played it with. I think it's a rather pretty production. It has a bunch of cardboard coins. I kind of like it, right? And ultimately, how it works is you bid on cards in the middle, and you bid a certain amount, and you win the cards, and you want to have the most cards of the same color to score sets, basically. Ultimately, though, what'll happen is if you have a card in front of you with the number 1 and the number 4, the bids that you have in future auctions, you can no longer bid anything that ends in a 1 or ends in a 4. And so it becomes restrictive. You win another auction, but you now cover it up. You have the numbers 2 and 8. Well, you can't bid anything that ends in 1, 2, 4, or 8. The upside is that anytime somebody else wins an auction that ends in 1, 2, 4, or 8, you will get all those coins. It's a neat little closed economy game. I like it, but I tend to be the one who has the most fun with it compared to everybody else, and that really brings down the experience because you can kind of just grindy think it out, and then you can also definitely be out of the game a few rounds in and say, well, I'm clearly not going to win. So Templari is okay. Next up, Dirty Money. This is by Daryl Chow, who's done a couple of other economic-themed games. I'm attracted to this a little bit because it's about money laundering, as you can tell by the washing machine on the cover named The Money Launderer. Dirty Money is a well, it's interesting. It comes with a rule book, and it also comes with another book that is like an explanation of all of the design game of the design choices about the game, because it'll educate you about how the 3 steps of money laundering. I find that's interesting coming from a risk assessment background in the accounting field. As a game, it's okay. I see what's going on here. Cards come out, and you can kind of draft. It's almost like a packet draft, right? Where there's a few cards together in 5 different columns. On your turn, you choose one column of all cards, and you grab it. And not only are you grabbing the cards that are in there, because they're different kinds of money. Some are dirty money. Some you want to try to sift through and kind of clean them out. But when you grab a packet of money cards and action cards from an area, you'll also activate the action above it. It sounds more clever, I think, than it is, and it's okay. It's okay, but like I said, it's better. It's better than the other ones here, and that's why it comes in the bigger box, I guess. Next, let's talk about Flapjack Flip Out! I have to show you some of the components of this. This comes with, one, a bell. I'm going to lower the volume when I ring this. It comes with a bunch of flapjacks. There are pancakes that are plain. There's pancakes that are apple. Ooh, apple pancakes, right? There's ones that are pumpkin and chocolate chip, and then there's these hybrid GMO raised in a lab pancakes that are half apple and half chocolate chip. How could this happen? Your scientists were so preoccupied whether or not you could, they didn't stop to think about whether you should. And it comes with these frying pans, these little griddles. And the point of the game is basically you try to flip over a pancake, and once you have flipped it over and it's showing what it is, you put it in a stack in front of you face down, and it becomes a memory game at that point, and you are trying to remember what you have, and then you want to fulfill orders and you ring the bell. Problem with this, I ended up giving a full game overview because that's the rules. The problem with this is that as much fun as I have with it, as a stupid little gimmicky party game, some of these paddles will sometimes, I don't know if it's like static electricity or whatever, but all of a sudden these things will stick and they will not flip. And what ends up happening is as you go through the flipping motion, the pancake sticks to the griddle and then it'll just slide off and you will never be able to get an actual good flip out of it. So I think it's a great idea. My daughter has actually specifically requested that we bring it back home and play it again, and I'm not terribly looking forward to it. Sorry, daughter, if you watch this in the future. Last up, let's talk about Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons Scrawlers Heroes of Undermountain. Too long of a title. This, I assumed, was going to be another roll and write game, adventure-y style roll and write game. It is not. It is actually a racing game where you're drawing through a maze. I like this one, even though it's a very one-trick pony. That's why it falls in this kind of like wonderfully adequate kind of games. This is the best of them. The coaster game one, like I said, telepathy. This is interesting to me. I find it to be fun. I find it to be interesting when I'm doing it, and then as soon as I pack it away, I have almost no interest in pulling it back out again. But if I pull it back out, I say, oh yeah, let's race through here, because you'll enter a room that has a different type of obstacle. You have to cross it all out with your dry erase marker, and then you can go through a maze again. Then you run to a new obstacle. You have to touch these stones in different number order. That's kind of cool, right? And then you get little bonuses. And at the end, once someone has defeated the main boss of that level of the dungeon, completely crossed them out, you get points for different things. Hey, how many monsters did you completely cross out? How many stones of the magic stones did you touch in fully correct order? How many treasures did you outline? I like everything that this has, but like I said, I just don't find myself compelled to come back to it. I think it's okay, you know? I can't highly recommend it. And then the good thing is that there's 10 different dungeons, I believe, and there's 4 copies of each. So you could play this. You could kind of, you could just have a silly, fun time. I'm not highly going to recommend it, but I think this is the most interesting out of all of these games here. So that is my pile of 5 wonderfully, mostly adequate games, and I hope that gives you some interesting insights. If any of these look interesting, sure, look into them more on your own, but I just want to give you a quick little dabble into my thoughts on them. So anyway, until next time, my name is Chris Yee from the Dice Tower. Thank you so much for coming by, and have yourselves a great day.